webinar regarding SIPROTEC 7SX800. My name is Johannes Bruce, and it's a great pleasure for me to be here. Together with my colleague Bruno Arnaes, we will present the latest information about our compact universal protection device. I would like to thank you very much for your participation. To make it easier, this webinar is divided into two sessions. The first session has a focus on the protection device and its applications, while we want to show you how our tools can help you in the second session. We hope that through this webinar you will learn more about how to unlock the full potential of SIPROTEC 7SX800.
Thank you, Johannes. I would like to say that it's also a great pleasure to be here. If you already joined us in one of our webinars, you already know about the Q&A box and the chat box on the right side in this application. If you have any questions that you would like to send to us, please type them into the Q&A box in the upper right side. All the questions submitted will be answered within a few days by email to all those who attended this webinar. If you have general comments, please use the chat box on the lower right side. Please don't use the chat box to send your questions. In case you are in full screen mode and want to see the Q&A box or the chat box, just press escape. And since we received one question very frequently, yes, we will record this webinar and make the recording and the slides available to all participants.
So, let's look at the summary of our agenda for the first session. In this first session, we want to start with an overview of our SIPROTEC 5 portfolio. Then we will head on to our universal protection series, and there especially to our most compact device, the 7SX800. Afterwards, we will present several applications that fit well with our compact universal device. We will then close the session showing you how you can specify a 7SX800 with our SIPROTEC configurator, and how the flexibility of the function point manager helps you to reduce your protection device variance. Before we go deeper into SIPROTEC 5 Compact, I would like to use this opportunity to present you an overview of our SIPROTEC 5 portfolio. Our Siemens protection and automation products have a large installed base of more than 3.4 million devices in the field, consisting of more than 2.7 million SIPROTEC protection devices and more than 600,000 railroad protection devices. Additionally, more than 300,000 substation automation and remote terminal units, together with nearly 800,000 power quality devices, are in service. By using SIPROTEC devices, you directly participate in the protection experience we gained over so many years. So what are the main drivers for SIPROTEC 5 protection? As you know, the future offers a near endless spectrum of possibilities, especially when it comes to communication. But these are coupled with the potential threats of a digital landscape. To make sure that you are always on the safe side, we integrated all advanced cybersecurity features in SIPROTEC 5. Another key driver is flexibility, starting from the various hardware options of our modular SIPROTEC 5 devices towards the functional modularity that is achieved with our function point concept. This allows you to have exactly the device that you need for your specific application. With SIPROTEC 5, we offer the whole variety of advanced protection. Universal devices minimize your hardware variance so that you can reduce your costs. The process bus technology allows the full digitalization of analog and digital values in your substation. The possibility to use low-power instrument transformers allows an easy adaptation when network conditions change after commissioning. Not to forget our centralized protection solution with the SIPROTEC 7SX800 that allows the control and protection of multiple bays. With SIPROTEC 5 devices, you can run multiple protocols in parallel, while you are safe as the encrypted DXI5 communication hinders sniffing and the alteration of device settings. And very important, the easy handling and operation, starting from our comprehensive engineering software DXI5 to our additional tools. We will present in our second session how these tools will save you time while recording with SIPROTEC 5 devices. With SIPROTEC 5, you always have the choice. You can either go the conventional way, with type-specific devices for various applications, for instance a 7SJ device for overcurrent applications, or a 7SK relay for motor applications. Or you can select a universal protection device to standardize your hardware variants and minimize your costs. Further details regarding our universal protection devices will now be presented by my colleague Bruno.
Thank you, Johannes. Well, since we are talking about universal protection device, let's look at what types of devices are available and what benefits this device provides for you. Within the SIPROTEC 5 portfolio, we have 4 different types of devices. We have the 7SX800, which is the SIPROTEC 5 compact device and is the focus of this webinar. We also have the 7SX82, which is the SIPROTEC 5 non-modular device. Just like type-specific devices, non-modularity means that the base module of the device does not allow hardware expansion. Also being a SIPROTEC 5 non-modular device, we have the 7SY82. This device is basically the same as the 7SX82, but with one big difference. The 7SY82 has analog inputs compatible with low-power instrument transformers. Finally, we have the 7SX85, which is the SIPROTEC 5 modular device. Thus, the main difference between this type and the other universal devices is that the 7SX85 allows hardware expansion. Before we proceed, it's important to highlight that all universal devices are part of the SIPROTEC 5 portfolio. And what does this mean? For example, it means that the phase over current protection is always the same, whether in 7SJ82 device or in a 7SX82 device. In terms of hardware, this means that a modular type specific device and a modular universal device have exactly the same hardware characteristics. But why did Siemens decide to release universal devices? The answer to this question is simple. It was to make SIPROTEC 5 devices even more flexible, which brings even more advantages to the use of the SIPROTEC 5 devices. With SIPROTEC 5 universal devices, it is possible to benefit from all stages of use of protection devices: planning, construction, and operation. These devices can be completely customized by the user, from the specification to the configuration process. During the device lifetime, the device can easily have the hardware and the functionalities adapted. It is possible to initially purchase the device without function points, that is, just the hardware, adding functionalities only when necessary, such as before starting commissioning, for example. Optimize stock costs by maintaining few universal devices that can basically replace almost all SIPROTEC 5 devices, among other many benefits. Among all possible benefits, let's quickly look at an example of benefits related to stocks. Here, we have just 2 different types of universal devices in a quantity proportional to customers' needs. Depending on the needs of new projects or a substation already in operation, devices in stock can be sent for assembly on panels or switchgears. Regardless of the object to be protected, only ensuring that hardware compatible with the application is used. Now, all that is missing are the functions needed for each application, since the devices are pure hardware. Knowing the functions required for each device, the user only needs to access the function point manager to generate a file that will allow loading the function points required for each device. Finally, using GXC5 or SIPROTEC tools, simply load the previously generated file onto the devices. Done. The device has hardware and function points according to each application and is ready for use. Johannes, now that we know more about the universal devices, could you show us more details about the SIPROTEC 7SX800?
For sure, Bruno. So, let's provide you more information regarding the most compact version of our SIPROTEC 5 universal devices, the 7SX800. Let's start with a wrap-up of the Siemens protection history. Siemens has a long history. Already from 1910 up to now, Siemens has experience in protection relays. Almost 60 years, electromechanical-based relays, the typical black boxes, were standard. Afterwards came the transition to electrostatic relays, and at the end of the 70s, the start into the digital world. In 1985, we introduced the 7SJ50, the first digital protection relay with our well-known compact design, with dip switches but without communication interfaces. Almost 10 years later, the successor 7SJ600 has been launched with a communication interface and software settings via a first simple Dixie version. The story goes on with SIPROTEC 4 Compact, which was brought to the market in 2008, a successor for our 600 series. It was based on the SIPROTEC 4 philosophy. SIPROTEC 5 started in 2012, a successor for SIPROTEC 4, with a complete new hardware design combined with high flexibility and modularity. In 2015, we could celebrate, as more than 1.5 million digital protection devices have already been sold. Finally, in 2021, the latest member of our SIPROTEC 5 family has been introduced. SIPROTEC 5 compact devices are designed and built on more than 110 years of protection experience from Siemens. The protection algorithms are directly taken over from our flagship SIPROTEC 5 devices. Also, the internal structure is built on SIPROTEC 5, ensuring the same quality, maturity, and experience of the Siemens protection world. As mentioned before, SIPROTEC 5 Compact completes the SIPROTEC 5 family. To make sure that you directly feel comfortable with the 7SX800, we made sure that you have the same look and feel that you already know from our well-established SIPROTEC 5 devices. The housing dimensions enable easy retrofit with older compact devices. We have a graphical display with single-line representation. The USB interface allows you to connect to the protection device via Dixie 5 or our web interface that can easily be accessed with a standard web browser like Google Chrome. LED labels are shown on the display by pressing the LED description button, so there are no paper strips necessary anymore. The philosophy is the same as for SIPROTEC 5. The selection of the secondary nominal current, 1 amp or 5 amp, or the binary input threshold is done via software. The battery exchange is done from outside. This means there is no need to open the device. It remains sealed. Now let's have a look on the rear side. The device is equipped with a universal power supply. This means we have only one wide-range power supply for all voltages, from 24 to 250 volts DC, or from 100 to 230 volts AC. This reduces variance, so that you need less spare parts if you have different auxiliary voltage levels in your substations. The black terminal on the left side is available if you need more binary inputs and outputs via an inbuilt additional I/O board. Finally, the communication interfaces at the bottom are always on board, right from the beginning. All in all, the hardware setup consists of 4 current transformers, either 4 times protection or 3 times protection and 1 sensitive input, and also 4 voltage transformers. This means, for instance, that the synchro check can be used in combination with all available voltage-based functions. We have 4 binary inputs and 5 binary outputs in the base version. With an optional built-in I/O card, the 7SX800 contains 14 binary inputs and 11 binary outputs, or 17 binary inputs and 8 binary outputs. We mentioned already that you are flexible with our universal devices when it comes to functionality. So how does this help you? As there is no need to predefine the functionality of the device, it's possible to order the devices already at a very early stage. The device functions can then be defined late in the engineering process and quickly and easily be imported into the devices. When you notice that you need additional function points for specific functions, you can anytime add them to the device within seconds by using the function point manager. The good thing for you, the function points are only invoiced when you really create the function points for a specific device. And for sure, you can use the function points for all SIPROTEC 5 devices, not only the universal ones. So for which kinds of applications can you use SIPROTEC 5 Compact? The 7SX800 is suitable to protect feeders, capacitor banks with 4 CTs, and small up to medium-sized motors where no motor differential protection is required. If needed, the temperature measurement is possible via an external serial or Ethernet RTD unit. Additionally, it can be used to directly protect small transformers without transformer differential protection or as transformer backup protection. For sure, it can also be used for frequency and voltage applications where previously a 7RW80 has been used. Being able to measure also small currents through an optional force-sensitive current input, the device can be used for various types of grounding. Last but not least, basic power quality functionality can for sure also be enabled, allowing you an easy supervision of your network stability. Now I'd like to hand over again to Bruno to present further applications that can be realized using the 7SX800.
Well, among the several possible applications for 7SX800 devices, we selected 4 applications to be presented as an example. Industry application. Our first example, and perhaps one of the most frequently used examples of 7SX800 devices, is industrial applications. Here, you can save time, optimize costs, and reduce errors using a single type of the device, but apply it to different types of switchgears, such as incomer, feeder, transformer, motor, generator, and capacitor bank. All devices can have the same hardware looking at the number of current and voltage inputs, binary inputs, and binary outputs, as well as communication ports. In terms of functions, each type of application can have a specific number of function points. With only one type of hardware in stock, you will be able to replace any device in use that eventually needs to be replaced. Or, in the case of an expansion of the electrical system, you can maintain the same type of device already in use, adapting the number of function points if necessary. Finally, I would like to highlight the examples of current and voltage connections presented here. All 7SX800 devices measure the bay current. In some bays, the measured voltage comes from VTs installed on the bus bar, and in other bays, the measured voltage comes from VTs installed on the load side. In the incomer, the voltage is measured on both sides of the circuit breaker, thus allowing the use of the SIPROTEC functionality. So, in short, a single type of 7SX800 device across your entire industrial application. Renewables. In renewable power plants applications, it is possible to apply SIPROTEC 5 devices at all voltage levels, from the main substation, through the feeders, and up to the connection of each power source. To protect the main substation, the solution may include the use of 7SX800 compact devices if possible, but will probably include the use of non-modular or modular SIPROTEC 5 devices. Perhaps even the use of a single 7SX85 device, providing complete protection with the centralized protection and control concept, or just CPC. But at medium voltage level, the 7SX800 devices become the main solution available, allowing cost reduction and less space required for installation, while maintaining the SIPROTEC 5 high level. Now, let's take a quick look at the example presented, which could be a solar or a wind power plant. In the first and second feeder, we have a 7SX800 device installed only in the outgoing feeder of the main substation, regardless of the number of connected power sources. In the third feeder, we have a 7SX800 device installed in the outgoing feeder of the main substation and an additional 7SX800 device installed in the connection of each connected power source, which will allow protection, control, and integration with some communication protocol of each power source to the energy distribution management system. Thus, 7SX800 devices can also be used in renewable power plants, bringing several benefits. High impedance differential protection. We will now present a more specific application example that demonstrates the versatility of the 7SX800 device, high impedance differential protection. Benefits from the compact, universal, and future-proof device, the SIPROTEC 7SX800, is clear. This device is compatible with both high impedance protection schemes presented here. The first example shows the single-phase scheme that are typically applied for ground fault detection in ground networks at transformers, generators, motors, and shunt reactors. The second example shows the three-phase scheme that are typically applied to protect bus bars, auto transformers, series reactor, shunt reactor, motor, or generator. Thus, it is possible to apply our 7SX800 device also in these specific protection schemes, maintaining the same type of devices as in a classical application. Modbus client. Here, in this last application example, we will present a possible application using Modbus client functionality, demonstrating that despite being a compact device, the 7SX800 is an extremely powerful device. The Modbus protocol has been available since the release of the SIPROTEC 7SX800. But the Modbus client functionality was recently released, allowing all SIPROTEC 5 devices, including, of course, the 7SX800, to monitor and control other field sensors and devices, either serial or Ethernet. As possible applications, we have the SIPROTEC 7SX800 that can be expanded to have more physical inputs and outputs interfaces, to be used at industrial and generation applications, station-level custom control applications, and controlling and monitoring legacy devices. Johannes, with these examples, can you show to us how to specify a 7SX800 device?
Okay, for sure, I can do this. Yeah, I'd like to show you now how easy it is to specify a 7SX800. The web-based SIPROTEC 5 configurator assists you in selecting exactly the 7SX800 device that is required for your application. You simply need to follow these steps. Select the characteristics of the hardware, define a number of function points based on the required functionality, and, if necessary, you can also select accessories for the SIPROTEC 5 compact device. So far to the theory, but let's see now how the configurator works in practice. So, you can find the SIPROTEC 5 configurator directly on our SIPROTEC 5 webpage. Easiest way to access this is through Google. Just search for SIPROTEC 5 and you will end up here. And then you can click here on SIPROTEC 5 configurator. And then it's opening the configurator where you are able to select either a device, you can select spare parts, you can select our engineering software Dixie5, or also some functional extensions. We will focus now on the device itself. So simply click here on the device, and then the configurator will offer you some applications that you can select, starting from overcurrent, line protection, motor protection, and so on. As the SIPROTEC 5 compact device is a universal device, you will find it here under universal devices. But as the applications you can use it for are for overcurrent protection or for motor protection, for sure you would also find it here under overcurrent or motor protection. Then you can click here on Next, to specify the device type, here you find all the universal device types, 7SX800, 7SX82, the non-modular device, the 7SY82, the LPIT device, and the 7SX85. I will select now the 7SX800 and click on Next. And here, this is now the view where you are able to define the hardware variants of your device. And you see, we really wanted to make sure that we make it as easy as possible. So there are actually only 4 options where you can select or define the hardware variant. So first of all, we have here the binary inputs and binary outputs. So starting with 4-bit inputs and 5 outputs to 14 inputs and 11 outputs, up to 17 inputs and 8 outputs. Let's assume we require only the small version. So I will pick here the one with 4 inputs and 5 outputs. Then we have the measuring inputs. Here the main difference is the ground CT. So here you can decide if you need a normal protection CT for your ground current or whether you require a sensitive CT. Yeah? So for a grounded network, you would select a normal protection CT because the ground currents are quite high. For isolated networks where the ground current is very small, you would go here with the version or variant with the sensitive current. I will pick here the one with for normal protection CTs. Then we have the front design, standard or US. The only difference here is the color code of the control buttons of opening and closing the circuit breaker. The rest is completely the same. So typically, in most cases, standard is fine here. And last but not least, you can define whether you require an electrical Ethernet interface or an optical Ethernet interface. I will select here the electrical one. So that's it already. So we selected the possible hardware options here. Then the next topic is functionality. So here you define in the next step which functions you require for your application. And you see already there's already a standard function package included, which is already very comprehensive. So it contains already a lot of functions. If you want to know what it contains, simply click here on Show Content. And it shows you here a list of the content that is included in this package. And you see that all current-based functions to protect a feeder are already included in the standard package. And also the complete cybersecurity functionality is also already contained here in the standard function package. So what does this mean? So if you just have a normal non-directional overcurrent application and you do not need any specific communication, then you can simply use our standard device. You do not need any function points to run your application. It's already included. If you say, okay, I want to, or I need a directional overcurrent functionality, or I want to detect also the voltages, then you can select here the voltage-based function package by clicking here on this box. And also here on the right side, it shows the contents. So the list of all functions, all voltage-based functions that are part here of this function package. And once you select this function package, you can use any of these functions that are included here. Then we're coming to the communication. We have here the Ethernet package for 50 function points. So here we find 6150, Modbus TCP, IC104, DMP3, Profinet IO, and for sure also all the redundancy protocols like RSTP, PRP, HSR. They are all part here of the Ethernet package. So I want to select this one here as well. And of course, we also know that a lot of our users still like the serial protocols because they're using IC103 or they're having Modbus RTU. So you can also select here the serial protocol package for 20 function points if you like. And here at the end, we find here the motor protection functions, starting time supervision, load jam, and restart inhibit for motors. And on the right side, you can find here power quality functionality, like voltage unbalance, total demand distortion, and so on. So here you can really pick the functions that are relevant for your application. So in the end, it tells you how many function points you would require. So in our case, it's 80 function points, 30 for the voltage function and voltage functions, and 50 for the Ethernet package. And then it's up to you how you want to receive these function points. Yeah. So the most flexible way, or where I would say you get the most out of the universal concept of the relay, is by using the function point manager. In this case, you will get the hardware of the device, and additionally, you get the function points as part of a function point budget, and then later on you can assign these function points to your device. To do so, you would need to enter here your function point manager ID, and then you get the function points as a budget. Alternatively, if you say, no, I just want to keep, or I just want to receive the device, including the function points already inside the device, just click here on no, and then you will get the device pre-configured, including the function points. Yeah, so in this case, you would receive a device including 100 function points, which is the next possible option here. On this side, you find the accessories, if you require them, some terminal accessories like current terminals and so on, or here also USB covers, SFPs, and so on. In our case, we don't need them, so I just click here on Finish. And then I see here my device already. So here it's the 7SX800. Here you see it's a 16-digit MLFB. Very simple, only 4 positions where you can really adapt the hardware of the device to make it as simple as possible for you. And here at the end, this is a so-called Z option, because we said, okay, we want to get the device pre-configured, including the function points. So here we get a version ZP10 standing for 100 function points. Okay. So far to the configurator. So the idea is really to make it very intuitive, very simple, and yeah, also reduce the amount of, or the number of possible variants, so that you can really define the variant that you need for your typical applications. And then later on, you can decide for which kinds of specific application you really require the device. Okay, now I would like to hand over to give you some further insights about the function point manager.
Sure, Johannes. Let's now see how to manage function points in a simple and easy way. Initially, it's important to provide some basic information about this tool. When the user wants to work with function point manager and enjoy all the benefits that this tool provides, the first step is to create a function point manager account. From now on, you need to order the number of function points you want to be allocated to your account. Once this is done, the tool is ready to be used, allowing you to create and download license files in just a few seconds. Presenting in more detail the steps indicated before. These are the few steps to create a function point manager account. If you already have an account, you simply need to select the login with the Siemens ID option. But if you need to create a new Siemens account ID, you just need to follow these few steps and we'll be ready. We can just go to the next step. Once logged into your account and having function points available, you just need to follow few steps to generate the new license file and load this file into the SIPROTEC 5 device. In short, you need to enter the device serial number and the tool will confirm the current number of function points. Enter the new number of function points desired and click on the option Generate License File. When the process is completed successfully, click Download License File. For legal reasons, it's necessary to inform the country of delivery, and you need to agree with the conditions presented. After the license file has been downloaded, you can use DXi5 or SIPROTEC tools to load the file onto the SIPROTEC 5 devices. Thus, in a simple and fast way, paying only for what you need and when you need it, Function Point Manager brings several benefits in all the different stages of use of SIPROTEC 5 devices. To finish, let's see an example of how to calculate the correct quantity of function points needed for your application. Johannes already showed to us how to specify a new SIPROTEC 7SX800 device. So, using as a reference the device that Johannes selected before, this device will only have the functionalities included in the standard function package. This means no function points. Considering an application where both voltage-based function package and Ethernet package are required, we need to add a total of 80 function points to the device. So, using the Function Point Manager, it will be possible to generate a new license file containing exactly the 80 function points required. Now, you just need to use the DXi5 or SIPROTEC tools to load the new file onto the SIPROTEC 5 device. And that's it. Easy and simple. With this, we end the first session of our webinar on SIPROTEC 7SX800. We hope that this session has contributed to your acknowledgement on SIPROTEC 7SX800 devices. Now, be sure to watch the second session of this webinar, where we will present how our tools can help you when dealing with 7SX800 devices.
We would like to thank you for all your questions. As stated at the beginning, all the questions submitted will be answered within a few days by email to all those who attended the webinar. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find the slides for download. If you're using full screen mode, you may have to press Escape to view the download area. The access to the recording is automatically available to all participants directly after the session with the same link you got for the live webinar. Thank you very much for your participation. It was a pleasure for us to guide you through this session where we learned about the SIPROTEC 5 Compact 7SX800 devices. We are looking forward to meeting you soon at one of our next webinars. Stay safe, take care, and goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye.